Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. In today's video, we are going to be talking about how to make your plant attach its roots onto the pole. Now this can either be a coir pole, a moss pole or a coir rope pole that I have made. Now this was a DIY pole that I had made. If you haven't watched this video, I will put the link in the description below. You can check it out. Now guys, usually a lot of these plants like syngoniums, philodendrons, monsteras, skindapses and pothos, they all have the aerial roots because these are epiphytic plants which tend to latch onto the other surfaces whichever tends to absorb moisture. They tend to grow on them by putting on the aerial roots. Now over here, as you can see, this is the initial start of the aerial root. It is not completely attached to the pole right now. So that's the reason why initially we have to either tie or fix the plant to the pole. For the initial stage over here, I have used a piece of wire because otherwise the plant is going to fall off with a slightest breeze. Right now it's not completely anchored to the pole. I will show you to you how it tends to look like once it's completely anchored into the pole. So this is my Rhaphidophora pertusa. You can see how well the plant is growing, and you can also see how well the aerial root has latched itself into this pole. Now this is a coir rope as well. I had made it some time back, and then I put the Rhaphidophora onto this, and now you can see it is completely anchored. It's very difficult to take it out from the pole. In this stage, you no longer need to tie it because the roots have already engaged and are completely infused into the coir rope. So at this point of time, you do not need to tie the plant to the pole because the plant has anchored its roots onto the pole and it is very strong. Now, how do we encourage the roots to attach itself onto the pole? Now, whether it's a coir pole, moss pole or a coir rope pole, the roots will only attach onto the pole when the pole is slightly moist. So when you are watering it, water the entire pole. Do not water the soil first because when you are going to water the pole, the water will fall into the pot. So if in case the water is not enough in the pot, you can water it later on. But whenever you tend to water the pole first. The extra water from the pole will end up into the soil. So by this method, you do not have to water it twice. So first water the pole and then the extra water will enter into the soil. Now guys, another important thing what you can do is, because the coir pole does not have any nutritional value and we want our roots to attach onto it. So you can take any liquid based fertilizer. Here I'm taking some compost tea. I will be diluting it in water and then pouring it onto the pole so that there can be some extra nutrients in the pole. So all I do is take the compost tea and mix it with water, give it a proper shake, and then I'm going to use it onto the pole. Now guys, when the pole is dry in the initial stage, when you're going to start watering, the water will repel because the coir is dry. But once the coir starts getting wet, it's going to be very smooth. The water will start getting absorbed into the coir rope. Even the same thing applies for moss pole or the coir pole as well, the ones that you get in the market. So you have to continue watering it, and after a while the water will not start to spill everywhere. It will immediately start getting absorbed into the coir pole, and all of that excess water that is there, that is going to end up into the pot below, as you can see. So in this way, you do not need to again go ahead and water the pot, because this you can keep continuing to water the pole until the water starts passing through the drain hole. So here, as you can see, the water is ending up into the pot, so it's also making the soil wet and moist as well. So you do not need to completely wet from up to down. You can just keep it in one position. The water will keep getting absorbed into the coir pole, and you can do this every time. Whenever the soil is dry, you can go ahead and keep watering it. Now ideally the coir pole tends to stay moist for a couple of days, probably for 2 to 3 days, because we keep the plants in indirect bright light. So the coir pole takes a little bit of time for it to dry, and all of the excess water, as you can see, it is going to end up into the soil, and your plant and the roots that are inside the soil will also tend to get water. At the same time, the aerial roots will also get water from watering the pole. At the same time, we have also added some nutrients. That nutrients will be absorbed into the coir as well as into the soil. So in this way, you are able to water both the soil and the pole at the same time. Now again, it is going to take a lot of time. It depends upon the variety of the plant. Apart from that, it depends upon whether it's a growing season or whether it's a dormant season. If it's a dormant season, please do not add fertilizers. If it's the growing season, you can add fertilizers and put it onto the pole. Here, as you can see, it is going to take a little bit of time for the roots to attach itself. Again, it depends upon the environment, climate, and the type of plant. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.